All right. So you guys are all familiar with this. This is our dashboard. We're going to go ahead and create a client because that's what you do first. Okay, first step, when you do a screen share with them, you want to create the client right there in front of them so that they can see their real information, not hypothetical situations. So let's say we do something like Dennis Baker. Oh, got to click my cursor in there. Dennis Baker. All right, Dennis Baker lives in Arizona. We're going to say he's got $250,000 as an initial investment. That's what he tells us. And he's 60 years old. So we're going to create the client. We're going to see his information go to the top left here. So now that we know that the Genius is going to be filtering out everything for us. And kind of the sales process that we're going to go through today. What I've been sharing with advisors and what advisors have been sharing with me in the sales process, and Rick, you can back me up on this, is that when you explain to someone, if all you're doing is telling someone something, it's not really going to do as much as if you show them. And that's been our motto through this whole thing. So what we've been seeing is when you first get someone onto a screen share, okay, and they can see your screen like this, do a little bit of a showing off. Don't go into so much detail. Just ask them, point blank, hey, Dennis, what are you looking to do? Okay, just broadly, what are you looking to do? And he says, well, I'm trying to get the most income for my investment. I'm kind of looking to retire in 10 years, and I want something to supplement my Social Security. Okay, great. We don't need to go into too much detail because right now I just want to show them what I'm capable of doing. All right, because you're going to stand out from the crowd. No one else is able to do this. So real quickly, we're going to go over to the rider calculator. We're going to go to the guaranteed income. As you can see, client's information will file in automatically. We can put some ratings here. Let's say we go B++ or higher. Not really worried about the premium bonuses or the additional flexibility. Let's just leave it right now for the deferred payments of 5 years. Okay, right off the bat, we're showing them 77 riders. Okay, 77 riders. We're not showing them 3. We're not showing them 5. We can show them top 10 if we want. But right now we're showing them 77 riders. And we're showing them with this $250,000 investment, if he was to defer payments for 5 years, he's going to get a yearly income of $20,000. Okay, there's a lot of other ones that we can choose from, but it starts at $20,000. Now, maybe, the simple roll-up rates are going to, have an impact on it, or maybe the highest index performance from that particular carrier will have an effect on it. But what we're doing is we're being transparent. Okay, he's never going to sit down with somebody that's able to do something like this unless it's someone else that has Annuities Genius. Annuities Genius is the only one that can do live searches like this, and it doesn't look like a rate sheet. Okay, you can see the carrier's name, you can see their logo, you can see their rating. Okay, if you want to look at the monthly income, you just click monthly. Okay, some people like to see it on that kind of a basis. I want to see what I'm getting per month, not per year. All right, you can see the breakdown of that. If they ask you, well, what are kind of some more things that we can see? Well, we can click on the annuity itself. Okay, you can bring up all of the index options. You can bring up information like premium payments and age restrictions. We can bring up the product brochure if we want. Okay, if he's a product brochure guy, yeah, let's go through the product brochure with him. This is all something that is going to make you stand out from everybody else. Okay, you got provisions and waivers, withdrawals, surrenders. You have it all, and you can print this all out for them. This is the product sheet. Everything that you need to know about this product is going to be right here. Okay, and you can pull it up in real time without waiting. Now going back here, Rick, there's something called the rider process, correct?
Yes.
Now, can you briefly explain to us what that rider approach is?
Yeah, so let me, one of the things that I love to do with this, Josh, is when we start talking about income planning, then I'll always start this on the carrier page.
Okay.
And the thing that I like to do, so if you click to that, this is pretty cool. I like to do something like this. So, hey, Josh, you and I are talking about guaranteed income for the rest of your life. And would it be okay with you, Josh, if we did a search from all the companies rated B++ and higher
Yeah,
that offer these guaranteed income riders, or the guaranteed income for life? Would it be okay if we searched all these companies and see who has the highest payout based on your criteria? Would that be acceptable to you?
absolutely.
And then the next thing I love to do is, any of these companies, have you looked at any of these companies yet, Josh? Have you been getting illustrations? Have you looked at any of these so far? Any of these familiar to you?
Yeah, they look familiar. They look familiar.
Awesome. Any idea who might have the highest payout?
I mean, to be honest, no, it's a little too complicated.
Awesome. So here's the cool thing I'm going to do right now. Based on the criteria that you and I talk about and that we've talked about so far, I'm going to put some search criteria in here, and it's going to actually tell us from all these companies who will give you the highest monthly income for the rest of your life. How would that sound?
That sounds great.
Awesome. So let's do this. I'm going to do the search right now. And so we're going to go into the guaranteed rider search,
Okay.
and we're going to go guaranteed income. And what you've mentioned to me so far is you'd like to allocate about $250,000 for income purposes that would guarantee income for the rest of your life. And you've got about a 5-year window, correct?
Correct.
As to before we start taking money. Okay. So all those companies that we just looked at, what it just did was it went through all of them and pulled out the top one. And you can see right now your first income here is 20 grand a year, guaranteed for the rest of your life, starting in 5 years.
Right.
That is the top one. Any questions on that so far?
No, 20 grand a year doesn't sound that bad.
Exactly. And so one of the things, what we do with our clients now, Josh, is that we're trying to do income planning. We want to make certain, based on your criteria, that we have the best plans available. And what this system does at Annuities Genius is it helps show you who's going to give you, the best income. So if you scroll down a little bit here, what you'll see is, of all those companies, it breaks them down. And then what we can do is start to look at the companies individually and who you feel you're most comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Awesome. And so, Josh, it's really this easy to sit and talk with somebody, and I get to do this live, and I get to do it instantly, and I get to the old planning process of, hey, let's do this 8 times.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
is now I get to sit here. Friday, the gentleman that I was talking to on Friday afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
his thing is that, well, wait a minute, there's got to be a hole here somewhere. How is this so simple and fast and easy to get this? Well, it's not simple, fast, and easy. There's a lot of work put in this software, for one thing. But the hole, though, right now is not here. The hole is how the industry still is trying to sell these.
Right.
And what you touched on earlier is that we just get an unbiased approach as to, here, look, all these. Let's pick some and go retire happy.
Exactly. And that's our goal here at Annuities Genius. We want to take the guessing game out. We want to take the bias out, and we want to provide what's in our client's best interest. It might not give us the most commission, but what it is going to do, it's going to help you sleep at night. Because when you help someone retire correctly, rather than just pushing products, again, you sleep much better at night. I can guarantee you that, or at least I hope so. At least I hope you sleep better at night. So one of the things that we can do here is, once you kind of do that showing off, and you get the client, like you said, Rick, is really that easy? Like, is it really that easy? And yes, we've made it easy for the advisor. We've made it easy for the end consumer. But you hit the nail on the head. This is not easy to create. Okay, our developers and programmers and mathematicians, they work 24/7, just nonstop. And they make it so that when you log on here, it is easy. They make it to where, yes, we are able to show you it that quick, that precise, that easy. Okay, that's their job, and they do a fantastic job with it. And so once you're done kind of like showing off and you get your client to that point where you're like, wow, no one's ever shown me this before. We have a best interest consumer suitability profile, which then you can say to them, look, you know, I just got a little bit of information from what you're looking for, but $250,000 is a lot of money. And I want to make sure that I have all of your main financial objectives, you know, at my forefront, so I can really pick the best annuity or recommend the best annuity for you. So if you want, we can run the questionnaire and I can fill it out with you. It's about 5 pages long. It does get pretty in depth, but it's going to allow me as your advisor to really choose what's going to be in your best interest. And of course, if you know they don't want to go over that with you on the phone, you can go to share public link. It's going to automatically save that for you. That way you can send it to them in an email. And the way we've set it up is once they fill it out, when they click on that link, they fill it out and they click update, it's going to automatically update into your CRM under their profile. Okay, so if we look at one that we already have filled out, I have this gentleman right here, Nick Gomez. We're going to go to his client details. And when it's filled out, this is what it looks like under their profile. So as you can see, it's pretty in depth. Okay, we can get their retirement planning, we can get their main financial objectives and what they're looking to do. And I think the best part about this is that when you do a screen share with them and they just got done filling out this profile, all of their main financial objectives are going to be right on the front of your screen. You know, as an advisor, there's really only so much that you can do. There's only so many times you can pat your chest and nod your head and say, look, I got your best interest in mind. But if you can show them by the consumer suitability profile that they filled out, I mean, that speaks volumes. Okay, I'm thinking about if I were to invest or if my grandparents were to invest, I would not want them to go with somebody who is just pushing 2 or 3 products every single time. I want someone to have this type of a software where they can do a live search right there in front of them without a bias. Okay, and you know, clients are starting to recognize that there are softwares out there like that, that there are advisors like that that are doing this. You know, it's going to start to become the norm. You know, clients are going to be looking for people who are using technology to help them best. And so, Rick, you've been on Annuities Genius for quite some time, and you know, you've been in the financial industry for years. I would say 20 plus years. Annuities Genius is something that we've been hearing as something that's revolutionary. Can you explain to me quickly just what you would say the revolutionary part is about Annuities Genius?
You know, let me go back to the old days of how I used to search the information.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'll show off, you know, how powerful this really is. But so what I would do for clients is we were all, you know, finding a MIGA return is pretty easy to do, right? Because they just have the return. However, when you start to get into index annuities, pre-Genius, you'd start to go, what are the caps, what are the spreads, what are the par rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, if you just picked it because, ooh, look, it's got a 90% par rate or, you know, a 1.5 spread or whatever the case is, you still don't know the return. So you are then forced to go to the companies and then actually run the illustration, right? And then finally after that, you get the return. And I used to spend the first week of every month just trying to zip through companies really quick to figure out, hey, who's giving me, you know, the best returns and that type of thing. So one of the things that just is a game changer is I say instantly because as quick as I can type the information in, I'm quickly locate, which you've seen me type. So
Yeah. Hunt and pecker.
I'm a hunt and pecker. There you go.
No shame.
But the key is that I'm instantly, from a time perspective, I instantly get to see who's in the game right now. But more important than that even is that I love the screen share thing. My client gets to see it, and you go back to that word unbiased. And so right now the playing field has been leveled for the client, for somebody who's willing to share this information with them. And the advisor now, I like to say, you know, my new little thing with the Genius is, you know, are you loaded for bear, right? And I'm loaded, and I get a chance quickly and instantly to, my time is used better, the client's time is used better, and the fact that it is unbiased and I instantly get to see who's who is, again, it just changes the game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you have a client that, is kind of skeptical, which, clients are always skeptical. They're going to be investing a lot of money. You want them to feel like they're the one making the decision, and really they are. They're the ones that are going to ultimately be making the decision to invest their money, and that's the whole goal of Annuities Genius. It's not just the title of this particular webinar that we're doing today. The goal of Annuities Genius is to empower the client to make the best decision with all the information that's available to them. And we've talked before on, who's the spotlight on. Is the spotlight on you and how much you're going to make in your commission, or is the spotlight on your client and helping them retire the best way? And we are going to implement that presentation that Rick that you took us through. That was amazing. If you haven't seen it, that's on the $2.4 million case study. Please check that out. That's an amazing way to start it off, because you're explaining and educating your client what an annuity is and what the different options are. And then leading right into the Annuities Genius, real quickly, I just put no cap, no spread, no account fees, no rider fees. I would like to look at, 7, 8, 9, and 10-year surrender charges. Okay, right off the bat, I can see, okay, we got Equitrust, we got Security Benefits, Midland, Athene. So now we're going over here and we're looking, okay, this one has a 7-year surrender year. It's got a 125% participation rate. That's pretty good. I like that. Now this Midland has 135% participation rate. Well, if we look at the recent NAIC, we can see that the worst period during the 10 years is 6.73 on this Equitrust, which on this one, even though it has 135% participation rate, it's got a low of 3.19. So that's a little worrisome to some people. Rick, I know that you like to do best or worst case scenario kind of planning, which is great. So right here with 125% participation, with the worst at 6.73, that's pretty good. So what I would do to promote transparency is, first, I would click on report. Okay, what that's going to do, it's going to put all top 40 into one report. Then what I would do is I would click compare on the top 4 that I want to show. All right, I'm going to go over to the side by side and click view, and then I would print out that report as well. All right, that way I can still promote transparency by clicking the top 4. Now, again, I'm empowering my client to have the best, annuity for themselves. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back test this. I'm going to illustrate that 10-year performance. Okay, everything's going to be plugged in for you. We have some predefined allocation strategies where you can see the index, you can see how much they're allocating, and what that particular strategy's average rate of return is, high and low periods. Okay, I kind of like, the 9.2 average. I like that it's got a low of 6.73, which is good. But we also have this one. This is a 70-30 split using the 2-year and the 1-year. It still has a over 7%, and it's got a low of 6.28. So if I were to click on this one, I can easily click on the annuity details, click on info, go to product brochure. I can explain the product brochure with them, go back, click print. Everything is going to be illustrated that's in the product sheet. And then I can exit out of this and click on report. So now everything that I've done with them, again, I'm just empowering my client to make the best decision for them. I have the side-by-side comparison. I have the product brochure of the one that we selected. I have the product report of the one that we selected, and that 10-year historical. I did that all within, 2 to 3 minutes? Okay, normally that's going to take you hours of research just to find out the top 4. let alone getting the illustrations and being able to show the back test information and everything. So not only are we helping you save time, but we're putting your clients first. They're the ones that are going to be in the driver's seat, and they're going to be the ones that are ultimately making the decision. You're just providing them with all the information available. So Rick, why don't we go ahead and open it up for any questions? But if there's anything else that you would like to say on what you've seen and your clients being empowered by this, please feel free to voice your thoughts.
So, hey, a few weeks ago, Josh, we came up with that one magic question. Hey, are you near your computer? Right?
Exactly.
And so I've added to that a little bit as I'm showing this thing, and I'm currently working with a CFO for a nonprofit. So he's a sharp dude.
Okay.
And really neat guy, and so we've had some dialogue, and he's really blown away by this stuff. You know, as I'm showing him, if I could see him on the computer, we're not doing a video, just screen share. I know he'd be scratching his head, going, "How do you do this, man?"
Yeah.
And so the fun thing though is a couple more questions that I think might help folks right now is as I start to walk through this, one of the things that I ask so it really nails it, that this is really powerful stuff and it's unbiased and it empowers them, is I would ask something like this. Hey, Josh, so if you were, let's say you had software that would help you find whatever it is that you were looking for in an annuity,
Mm-hmm.
what would you search for? Would you search for the company's rating? Would you search for performance? Would you search for allocations? What would you search for? And then when people when they answer that, what happens is whatever answer they give me, I go do that search.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And now all of a sudden they're going, what? Whoa, I'm actually, and then I direct them to the, performance search, and I'll try to find out if anybody's shown them any other companies. And
Yeah.
so those couple little quick questions, hey, how would you do it if you could? Sets them up to tell you, here, if you'll search for me this way, I'll buy it.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's the goal. I mean, how can you not build at least build trust and transparency with the client with something like this? I mean, we get people telling us all the time that no one has done this for me, no one has taken me through and has just shown me all the information. I feel like I'm having to pry it out of them, and even still I don't feel like they're telling me the whole truth. And with Annuities Genius, it puts the truth out for everyone to see. It doesn't make something look better than what it is. It doesn't make something look worse than what it is. It just says, hey, these are apples, and this is what an apple looks like. We're not comparing apples and oranges or anything like that. This is an annuity, and these are the top ones for you. No bias at all.
Just the facts.
Just the facts, and that's the goal. I mean, if we can help not only America retire better, but if we can help America retire earlier, I mean, that's going to do wonders for our country. So obviously, we have a lot of questions here, so we're going to go ahead and get to those. And Rick, please feel free to jump in and answer the questions here. Let me go ahead and start from the top. So let's see, Mark Young, how would you transfer to the income riders, not guaranteed? How would you transfer to the income riders? I'm not sure I get the question. Mark, if you could kind of ask your question again. I don't know what you're trying to transfer into the riders. We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. This one's for you, Rick. Are you or were you appointed with all the carriers on Annuities Genius, or did you add carriers as you saw which ones came up based on your clients' needs? Do you give them the highlights of the annuities, i.e., no market loss, deferred growth, etc.?
Right. So yes and yes. I've been licensed with a ton of companies, and then I will get if I like the company and they show up strong in Genius, I will get licensed as I go on too. And so, and if I didn't know the company or that type of thing, but after doing this for 30 years, I know most of them. And so if I think they're good, I'll certainly take them on. But Genius helps me that way too, because I get to, look, oh, look, they have a good product, so it makes it super easy for me to add them.
Yeah, and that's the thing, just because you're not contracted with somebody doesn't mean you can't get contracted with somebody. If you're noticing that, the companies that you're contracted with are showing up at the bottom of, page one, or maybe not even page one, maybe it's showing up on page 3 or 4. Yeah, just because you're not contracted with them right now doesn't mean you can't go and get contracted with them so that you are able to present and sell what's going to be in your client's best interest. And Rick, you're a testimony to that. You've been, seeing what's good on Annuities Genius, and you've been going out and getting contracted with those so that you can do just that. And we need we need more of you in the industry. So it looks like Van Johnson says, can Annuities Genius compare and look at the income guarantees from a structured VA and a regular VA? What would you recommend we do if a prospect came to us with a quote from an advisor on a lifetime income guarantees from a VA product? Van, great question. We are going to be implementing variable annuities very soon. I would say in the next 3 months, we're going to have SPIAs, variable annuities, index link annuities, IULs, structured annuities. Those are all things that are going to be implemented within the next few months. So once we get those in there and once the database is full, we do have functions from the tools that are going to allow you to do just that. So again, you got to wait just a little bit more time. Our developers have been working tirelessly on this new product right here called the Illustrator. Okay, the Illustrator tool is up and running. It is functioning. And now that that is complete, we are going to be finishing up all the little details, and that should take another 3 to 4 months. Once that's up and running, the Annuities Genius software is going to be complete. And Van, we will be doing a few videos on just that, how to go from a structured VA to an index or a guarantee or something like that. So great question there. Let's see, any way you can show how you would handle a prospect just looking for an accumulation and growth right now and doesn't need, I think it's supposed to be income later. Yeah, no, that's a great question. The Growth Analyzer tool does exactly that.
Our favorite search.
Exactly. This is where everyone loves to go first, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's a great tool to use. So this is strictly looking at the growth index annuities. Okay, it's going to show you what the top performers are. You can put filters in, so if you don't want a cap, you just click no cap. If you want there to be no rider fees, you just click no rider fees. No spread, again, 1 click. If you're looking for particular surrender charges, you can click the ones that you want. You can select by ratings. I mean, you have all of it at the tip of your fingers. If they're looking for just growth, okay, and there's no time limit, 10 years is pretty good. Normally you don't want to, I don't see people going more than 10 years, but you can. I mean, it's going to accumulate a little bit more, which is good. So if they have 14 years to do, click on 14. See what comes up. Yeah, so we can see that this, 14-year, it's got a 200% participation rate. It's got a 1% account fee. So if we were to get rid of the account fees, let's see what comes up. Okay, there you go. Still 150% participation. It's got a 3% bonus. It's got a low of 3.5, but this one's got a low of 6.1. It's got 100% or 110%. So again, we're not telling you what product to sell. We're not telling you what product to recommend. We're just giving you all the information. Okay, and as a financial advisor, you need to take this information and based on what your client's needs are, recommend what's going to be in their best needs. But for the growth specifically, yeah, you're going to want to go to the Growth Analyzer tool. All right, great question. So Mark Young, you revised your question. You have shown the guaranteed to the prospect. Would you move to the index income rider? the index income rider. So let's see here. So this is the guaranteed. All right, and we can see the, the index average rate of return the last 10 calendar years of the top performing account, 6.6. Okay, not bad. It's using the Capital Strength Barclays 5 index. We do have the projected income calculator, and I think this is what you're talking about. And you do have your different allocation options. So let's go ahead and defer payments here. We'll set the last withdrawal to what we want. And if we have S&P selected, that means that all of the carriers now are going to be assuming that average rate of return for the S&P. They're all using the same index. And everything's being sorted by the total lifetime withdrawal. Now, if we choose top performing for the recent calendar years, that means over the past 10 years, it's going to be assuming that annual rate of return from that index. So Global Atlantic looks like it's using the Franklin US. Midland's going to be using the Fidelity Multi-Factor. Allianz is using the 2-year Bloomberg. So it's just assuming that annual rate of return from the top performing index that that carrier has. And then from there, you can, show more details and illustrate it for them, where they have their increasing income story on the far right. We can, go to the details tab and bring up the product sheet, or we can go into Illustrate. Okay, and that's the new Illustrator tool. I would like to explain what the Illustrator tool is before I just show you how it works. And we're going to actually be doing a webinar for that, because the Illustrator tool is complete. And yeah, we definitely need a separate webinar just for that. But let's see, why does it show runs out? Yeah, so this is when the ending accumulation value is. Okay, that doesn't mean that you're going to stop receiving withdrawals at age 78. As you can see, when you show more details, you can see the accumulation is stopping at age 78, but you still continue to get your guaranteed minimum. And assuming that, the annual rate of return stays the same, you do get that increasing income. And so that's a great question, Victor. Let's see, we got some in the Q&A section. How many companies should someone be contracted with? Is there a good process for that? Wow, that is a good question. How many companies should you be contracted with? I mean, I don't think there's a right number on that. But with Annuities Genius, it is showing you what the top performing companies are. And based on that, maybe is how you should choose where you're going to get contracted with. I don't think necessarily a correct number or a specific number is the right thing. I think it's more of who you're getting contracted with rather than how many contracts you have.
Hey, Josh, and I think to that question too, and we grapple with that, right? I mean, I think back in my Arizona days, I was probably in 25 states at that time, licensed in 25 states because the clients, everybody left Arizona in the summer, right? And so I was with lots of states, lots of companies, but I think how I like to answer that question for myself right now is whoever it takes for me to best solve the client's need.
Right. Yeah, that's the main objective. You want to be able to recommend to your client what's in their best interest. And if you're not contracted with that carrier, then yeah, first step, go get contracted with that carrier. I don't think they'd have a problem with you saying, look, I see that your products are going to be helping my clients the best. I would love to get contracted with you so that I can recommend it to them. Let's see. How do we see the actual historical numbers on the alternative indexes versus the back-tested results often used to illustrate the alternative indexes? Great question, Van. If we go to our backtest historian, and we just choose a product at random here, we'll go to proceed. Right here, you have 2 tabs. So you can choose ones that have no account fees, okay, no fees at all. And you can choose ones that have live data, okay. You can see some indexes have historical data before their launch date. They can still be back tested, but you may want to exclude them since, they may provide more risk. So when you click on, indices that only have live data, now you're only going to get that real historical back testing. Okay, we do the back testing just like the carriers do the back testing on their illustrations. So if you unclick this, you're going to get what we can do based on that hypothetical historical. If you want actual historical, you click on the button and it's going to show you the live data. That's a great question though. Great question. Let's see. I think we have time for two more. Let's see here. When is our lead generating system going to start? Alfred, great question. We know that it's not only great to have a great point of sales tool like we do have with Annuities Genius, but it is important to have leads to present that presentation to. We are in conversation with a few lead companies. We want to be able to provide you with leads. And yeah, we're definitely in the making right now. We're in conversation. We want to be able to provide those to you guys. We understand that that's important. We want to simply put just a button right here on the toolbar. So that way you can click on it, purchase the lead right from the Annuities Genius software. And yeah, we want them to be exclusive. We want them to be qualified. We don't want them to be bad leads. We want them to be really good leads for you guys. So great question. When's that's going to start? I want to say within the next month. Hopefully within the next month, we can have that up and running for you guys. But I can't make any promises because, again, right now we're still in a conversation with it. Let's see, one more question. Let's see. So Van, you said, so until you get the VAs in the software, how would you suggest handle the prospect coming to us with a lifetime income using the Annuities Genius? Well, if you have a client that currently has a variable annuity, we have the annuity transition tool under market tools. This allows you to transfer a variable annuity into a fixed annuity. That is a tool that we have that's up and functioning right now. You can choose the variable annuity, you can choose the product that they have, and you can do it from there. But until we include the variable annuities into the database, which you can see is going to be coming soon, yeah, that's just something that you got to wait for. It's going to be amazing once it rolls out, but that is something that we are working on day in and day out. Again, now that that Illustrator tool is complete, we are focusing on finishing all the little details. One of those little details being the variable annuities. We're going to go ahead and close it on for questions. Rick, any final remarks about Annuities Genius or about specifically empowering your client?
You know, it's the most exciting thing for me right now is to go, wow, you know, I want to do 5 of these a day for people. It's just so cool to be able to go, you know, talk to the client, find out what their needs are, instantly show them what's available, and then help them implement, you know, their plan and know that the advice that I'm giving isn't based on anything other than the facts.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and so it's really empowering for me. But I think what's so cool is that the client, once again, I mean, when you empower a client and they feel they've made a great decision with your guidance,
yeah,
that is a powerful thing. You know, you show me 100 happy clients like that, and I'll probably show you a few hundred referrals.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
It's just, so that's the exciting thing for me. And again, since I used to do so much of this stuff by hand and manually and how long it took, I thoroughly enjoy the fact that I can search so many different ways and, you know, get to what I'm looking for the client. So it's cool.
Very cool. Well, you guys, what I want to leave you with is a few things. So in your Genius University, all right, we have the tool tutorials. These videos have been updated. So a lot of the videos didn't have all of the upgrades that we've done to all the tools. So we've just upgraded all these videos. You can watch them as many times as you want. Please watch them. It has a lot of good ways to learn how to use the tools. You need to learn how to use the tools. This isn't going to be effective for you if you don't know how to use the tools. Okay, and you don't have to do it yourself. We do a demo every day, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, that you can join. It's a 30-minute demonstration. I just walk through all the tools with you. Also, as you were able to see here on your announcements, that the Genius is now tablet compatible. Okay, so if you have an iPad or any kind of tablet, please make sure you're using Google Chrome. Okay, that's the #1 key that you have to do. Use Google Chrome, but it is going to be tablet compatible. So that's good. You can go into a client's home or wherever you're going to meet them and have that tablet ready for them, and you can even give it to them. Let them search it for a little bit. Let them play on Annuities Genius. Other than that, thank you guys for participating with us today. It's always a pleasure to get on here with wonderful people like Rick and be able to help you guys sell more annuities, but ultimately being transparent with your clients and empowering your clients to make the right decision for themselves. So I will see you all next week. Rick, thank you for joining us today. I look
Thanks,
forward
Josh.
to our conversations, definitely. And you guys have a wonderful week. Stay safe, and I will see you all at the top.
Have an awesome day.
Yeah.